Okay, hi Maxim. Let's take a look at this new set of essays. The topic is computer education. Is it necessary, or do children acquire these skills from their everyday life? Let's see what you said. Okay, what's going on here? Okay. Widespread, no. Let me just make sure I understand your paragraphs. Okay, so these are your ideas, these are your notes, and then this is your paragraph. Okay, so widespread of modern advances in educational process in academic institutions, especially in schools, in my opinion, is a logical and expected consequence of IT development as well as human evolution. All right, so Maxime, this is a sentence that is fraught with grammatical errors. It really made very little sense. It's partially grammar, it's partially vocabulary. I would really have to sit and dissect the sentence to tell you where the errors are and what they are, whether it's more grammatical or whether it's more vocabulary. But let's try to just fix it, okay? And worry a little less about that. What are you really trying to tell us in this sentence? Okay, this is what I think you're trying to say. I think you're trying to say the prevalence of modern advances in the educational process in academic institutions, especially in schools, in my opinion, is a logical and expected consequence of IT development as well as human evolution. That's what I think you're trying to say. I should also tell you that, excuse me, as a sentence, I find it rather heavy. What do I mean by that? I just mean that there are a lot of these like structural words, okay? And structural words really make sentences sound very heavy. Like, for example, if you have a lot of relative clauses, so in which, where, that, when, in one sentence, it's very heavy. In this case, you have a ton of prepositions, and interestingly, they're all the word in. So look at it again. In the educational process, in academic institutions, in schools, in my opinion. So it just feels so heavy. So what I would like to do, and it's an interesting thing to point out, I said it feels heavy because that's what these kinds of words do. They're not words that carry meaning per se. They're words that have a structural role. All right, that's their function. It's to provide some sort of function, structure. They're not verbs, they're not nouns, which carry meaning. And so I would definitely like to see this rewritten, okay? So a lot of time spent on one sentence. Let's move on. Although some people believe that children today have inadequate amount of time spent with modern devices in their daily routine, others, myself included, feel very strongly that usage of progressive innovations such as computers and the internet is a sine qua non of teaching in contemporary times. This essay will examine a few arguments in support of my point of view using examples from the European Bureau of Statistics and World Educational Society. All right, I can't say that I love this paragraph, apart from the fact that the first sentence was, we've discussed it heavily. The problem is that nowhere did I really feel like you really rephrased the topic. We have 2 points of view here. One, that children learn computers from their daily access to them and their daily contact with them. And then the other point of view, which is that children need to learn about computers in a structured, more academic school sort of supervised way. I don't really feel like you talked about this. You said they have an inadequate amount of time, and then it's a sine qua non of teaching in contemporary times. So I don't really feel like you did a particularly good job of rephrasing this. So this essay will examine a few arguments in support of my point of view using examples from the European Bureau of Statistics and World Educational Society. Okay, fine. Firstly, there is ample evidence that in most developing countries, children do not have access, get rid of "and", access at their homes to the online information resources. All right, get rid of the. Therefore, computer education per se is vital in obtaining appropriate skills. This is largely because only schools provide children with the sole opportunity to absorb IT skills in these regions. I don't know what regions you mean. For example, recent empirical research by the European Bureau of Statistics has exemplified that 80% of pupils in developing countries, careful with your typing, can use computers as well as the internet only during their courses in academic institutions instead of the, careful, developed world, where more than 95%, not percentage, of adolescents, TS, have their private laptops. Okay, let me see if I understand this. So you're saying that schools are the only places for children to absorb these skills. All right, and then you say that in developing countries, 80% of them use the internet through their academic courses. I'm not really sure what you're trying to say here, to be absolutely honest with you. So what does this mean? That we have to educate children on computers because in developing countries they will have no other access to computers? So I'm not really sure about this, to be quite honest with you. It's not entirely clear to me, at least. I don't know. Let's see. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that the positive effect of using computers in schools should not be underestimated. Secondly, teachers provide special knowledge of using computers in a proper way and under control, which contributes to absorbing skills more productively, expeditiously, and even safely. All right, explain it to me. Don't just go into your moreover. All these have a profound impact on pupils. I don't know where I'm seeing these words. Have a profound impact on pupils' development and can even boost it. For instance, CE, the latest study by World Educational Society, has shown a remarkable rise of qualified students in the IT sphere who have enrolled in universities who had previously been taught by computer programs. Okay. Thus, it is possible to say, not stay, beyond doubt, the progressive methods only improve the quality of the educational process. Okay, so this paragraph 2 had some major problems for me. I was trying to figure out what is the central idea here. What is the message you're trying to convey in this paragraph? Wasn't entirely clear, and I want to explain to you why. So, you say that teachers are able to teach computers in a safe, productive, and expeditious way. Fine. And then you said that the teachers can affect students' development. Fine. And then I didn't understand this at all because you said they had been taught by computer programs. So what are you really telling us here? They're not being taught by, now maybe you just worded it incorrectly, but the point is that it definitely creates some incoherences, as if you're saying that these students who are being taught by computer programs, not teachers, do really well and they go into IT and so forth. So all of a sudden it's like the entire meaning of this paragraph changed for me, and I really had no idea what you were talking about after that. Okay, and then it almost sounds like you are talking about like online learning and being taught by computer because you talk about progressive methods. So it's really very confusing. I'm not sure what you're saying, and I certainly cannot isolate and locate one central idea here. Okay? So, to conclude from the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that early involvement in modern technology contributes only to further benefits for the students, encouraging them to explore technical skills needed in the modern workplace. All right, well, that was clear. That's fine. But as you can see, there are really a lot of problems with the rest of the essay. I want you to look at them. I want you to think about them. Let me know if you have any questions about my comments. But I hope that they're pretty clear to you. Let's take a look at this letter. You didn't like the review of your favorite TV show, so here's what you said. I'm writing, dear Mr. or Madam, I'm writing in response, S-E, to, no. I'm writing in response to the article published in yesterday's, apostrophe S, issue of your newspaper. To be more exact, I would like to complain about the article that presents the latest show, The Wild Island, on TV, where author Tim Carby describes his own opinion about the show, which I found totally unacceptable and even unprofessional. Firstly, I guess most readers would agree with me that the core principle, this should be L-E, not A-L. There are two different meanings of this word. The core principle of quality news is to provide people with truthful, profound, and even clean from any kind of personal thoughts information. Moreover, I want to draw your attention, to the fact that the author in his article uses informal language and misleading arguments, as well as links to some sources that I could not even find on the internet. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Secondly, I believe that more people have that kind of show. No, I believe that the more people the more people who have that kind of show, comma, the more people can protect and support wild nature and its habitats from the dangerous impact of industrial development. Okay. Furthermore, the program reveals and defines an essential problem in human beings' behavior towards animals, which I like the most since it expands mankind's way of thinking. Finally, I would appreciate it greatly if you could investigate this matter as well as provide your staff with some special trainings to avoid similar situations in the future. I'm sure that many readers will support my ideas. Okay, your conclusion is fine. Did I have some problems here? Yeah, I did. I definitely did. Okay, so you're complaining about this article by Tim Carby. I don't really understand what your complaint was. All right, so here, it took you a while to tell us what your problem with it was. You said that he uses informal language and misleading arguments and maybe kind of some dubious sources. Okay, so remember that it's really important to make your central idea clear from the beginning of your paragraph. So I would have liked you to kind of state what the problem was and what your major complaint was from the beginning rather than waiting to the end of the conclusion, end of the paragraph for it. And then here, I didn't understand this at all. Like, so you're telling us what the program does and why you like the program, but I don't understand how this is connected again to the author's comments. I think you should have added something else. I know what the bullet says. I know what it says about this, but I still think you should have said that the thing you like about the TV show somehow in some way contradicts something that the author had said. So because you have a firstly here and then you have a secondly, so it leads us to believe that these two are kind of interconnected some way. They're not. Clearly this is obviously answering the one bullet and this is answering the second bullet. So you either needed to get rid of that firstly and secondly, and then somehow show us that you're switching gears. You really should have just said something like there are a variety of reasons why I find the show so positive and so beneficial, and then you could have gotten into it. So have like a nice lead-in topic sentence here, or you could have done some of the things that I suggested earlier. So the rest of the letter is fine. The yours faithfully is correct. A lot of this was correct. It was fine. I did, like I said, I found some of the way you developed this a little problematic. I didn't think your central ideas were clear in each paragraph. I had to kind of look for them. And I didn't also like some of these linking words here. Like I definitely didn't care for that firstly and that secondly here. I think there were other ways you could have done this a little more fluently and a little more elegantly. Okay, so go ahead and correct these. Let's see more work from you. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments about this. And, I'll be waiting for the next set of your essays.